Most of us already know the show The View is full of these sour, liberal women, men hating anybody in their path that they can find. And since President-elect Donald Trump has, in fact, been elected as the 47th president of the United States, well, who else can they pick on right now on The View? Well, Whoopi Goldberg laid aim and has chosen her next target, which is Holtermann's Bakery, a small little family-owned bakery in Staten Island, in which she says that she went there to go get some baked goods on her birthday, and they told her they couldn't do it. And the reason why, according to Whoopi, is because her political views didn't align with theirs. Therefore, they decided not to make her goods. And, she went and said this live on The View. And let me actually show you that video. Watch this.
These refused to make them for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What? Oh.
No. Let me explain. They said that their ovens had gone down, all kinds of stuff, but folks went and got them anyway, which is why I'm not telling you who made them. But can't be because I'm a woman, but perhaps they did not like my politics.
Yeah. Seems to be a lot of talk about the dessert I requested for my birthday show. I never mentioned the name of the bakery or the location. It does seem a little odd that when we called a few weeks before my birthday and we were told they couldn't process the order for my birthday because of an equipment failure, but somehow they were able to accept an order of a different 48 of the same dessert when somebody else called without using my name. But it's all okay, y'all, because I enjoyed my delicious dessert and I had a happy, sweet birthday.
Well, what she said is actually not the case, and this is like a Jussie Smollett situation, to be honest. What really took place is that the boilers were down, and according to Fox News, when they followed up, bakery owner Jill Holtermann denied Goldberg's version of the events, it says, explaining that the bakery's issues were not politically motivated, but they stemmed rather from mechanical problems with their boilers, an ongoing challenge in their building, which, by the way, was built in 1930. This is what Ms. Holtermann said. She said, I said to Whoopi, I can't do it right now, meaning that she can't make her baked goods. She said, we have so many things going on with my boiler. However, they ultimately did make the order as the co-host actually enjoyed the desserts live on air on Wednesday. So Holtermann appeared alongside Staten Island Borough President Vito Fossella, who explained what happened at a press conference on Friday. And by the way, guys, okay, this staple of a business, this small little family-owned bakery has been there in Staten Island for 145 years. It says they had a boiler that was 60 to 70 years old in the first week of November. Guess what? It went on the fritz. They had it replaced, and the reputation of Holtermann's is impeccable. So rather than commit to something they couldn't guarantee, which any good business should and normally does do, right? They said, we can't do it. And the person who besmirched, defamed them, took that on as an insult to her. Well, get over it, he said. This family will be here, God willing, for another 145 years. And the reason why this is super important, okay? Somebody of a celebrity status, like, unfortunately, that Whoopi Goldberg is, you say something about a company like this, you could effectively put them out of business. You could effectively give them a bad name after 145 years of building up their reputation, establishing their name, doing as good as they do. This is what you do. You go and pick on little bakeries, trying to make it family-owned businesses. I thought you believe in inclusion. I thought you stand for the little guy. No, but your rich ways, your celebrity status, you had to have your desserts. And because you couldn't get them right when you wanted to get your sugar rush, you decided to pick on them and defame them live on air and then enjoy their desserts after the fact. I mean, guys, this is absolutely insane. And listen to me, this is what's concerning, okay? Listen to me very closely for just a moment. If Whoopi Goldberg was willing, not only in one shot, but then to double down and lie on a small little family-owned bakery about some desserts being made, regarding her political views, which ended up being a total fabrication. I want you to think about what other major issues her and her co-host on The View have lied to the American people about on a consistent basis. The amount of propaganda that's pushed through this show to make people develop views, the amount of women, young and old, who they infiltrate, and they're warping their minds to have certain vantage points and aspects of how they're going to view things in life in general, but especially politics with what the season we just came through recently. Think about the influence they're having over people, fabricating, lying, embellishing, omitting things, and putting this out there on the open airways. And because they are the media and they own that slot of time, how many people have they manipulated and lied to believe something that is absolutely and completely false? And that's terrifying. But this is what we have. And this is why I'm even more excited about President-elect Donald Trump coming into office and capping off people like this, because these are the types of people we should be censoring. Even though I believe in free speech for all, these types of people are the ones delivering the mis and disinformation, malinformation to hurt the American people. And we should be promoting free speech instead in the real media. We are the media now. And that's the beautiful thing. But this is so sad of a situation. But what's great about this, the happy ending to this, is that the overwhelming amount of support that's come forward, not only from the local community there in Staten Island, but we're talking across the U.S. People have captured this story. People from all over the country calling in saying, hey, where can we send donations? Can we drop $50, $100, $1,000 here? Whatever we can do to support what you're doing, and then just take the goods out and give it away to people. Share it with the community. And so now when somebody came down to clamp and try to crush them and make them into nothing, now it's actually had a counter effect and their name's going far and wide. They're getting more popularity. And you know what? When I make a trip up to Staten Island, I'm going to go to Holtermann's Bakery and I will be getting some goods there for me and my family. I want you to hold on tight because we're going to dive headfirst into a tale that captures really the true essence of what's at stake in this great nation of ours. Now, we're staring down the barrel of a seismic conflict, and I want you to kind of picture that in your mind for a second. Now, it's a war not only of our soul, but really the idea of freedom and sovereignty on a world stage. And it's not just some conspiracy. This is reality, raw and unfiltered. And what I'm talking about is I'm going to tell you something that's going to send some shockwaves through the establishment. Now, on one side, we have a president in Joe Biden who, without so much as a nod from Congress, has decided to authorize Ukraine to use long-range missiles inside Russian territory. I mean, we got to really think about this for a second. And you heard me right. Biden has essentially committed an act of war against a nuclear superpower. Okay? No public debate, no approval from your political elected representatives, just a decision made behind closed doors, rubber stamped by the same globalist cabal, right, that's been calling the shots for far too long. And you better believe that this is the same cabal that brought you endless wars previously, okay? $1 trillion of debt, all right? And a culture of fear so pervasive that it's gripped generations by the throat. And I want you to think about that for a second. Let that sink in. Think about the implications here, okay? Now, we're not talking about some border skirmish or diplomatic posturing. This is a direct escalation that puts American lives and our future in peril. Now, Russia has already signaled that it views such moves as an act of aggression, and you know what that means. Putin has already come out and said, listen, even if Ukraine were to do this with someone else's missiles, we are going to consider that other country an ally. Thus, we will retaliate on both. And if it's NATO-based, which in this case, obviously it will be, then everybody's getting hit. Okay? So we're teetering on the edge of a global conflict and nobody in the mainstream is even blinking. Why? Because this is part of the script. Part of the playbook to keep you distracted while they tighten their grip on every facet of life, but also to maintain control, knowing that President-elect Donald Trump is about to come in. And speaking of Donald Trump, let's kind of flip this side to give you the other perspective. Now, what's Trump's plan? If you haven't seen the video, he's come out and said, look, my plan is to secure the borders and to protect this nation from the cartels. You've seen Tom Homan, his pick, right? That's going to go in and clean house and really go after the cartels full force. So Trump has announced already that he's ready to declare a national emergency on day one and use the military and finally put an end to the chaos at the southern border. And you can already hear the shrill cries of the establishment, the media, and the so-called human rights groups screaming at the top of their lungs, basically saying, hey, this is too extreme, man. This is too harsh. And whatever word they want to pull out of their hat to distract you from what's really happening. And as a matter of fact, let me quickly show you this video that Trump had recently put out stating exactly this. Watch this.
Our country is being poisoned from within by the drugs and by all of the other crime that's taking place. The drug cartels are waging war in America, and it's now time for America to wage war on the cartels. In this war, Joe Biden has sided against the United States and with the cartels. They are making more money than they've ever made before, times 10. There's never been anything like it. They're major, major companies. They're bigger than even some of our biggest companies. Biden's open border policies are a deadly betrayal of our nation. When I am president, it will be the policy of the United States to take down the cartels, just as we took down ISIS and the ISIS caliphate, and just as, unlike the situation we're in today, we had a very, very strong border, the strongest border, in fact, in the history of our country, and drugs were at a low of 45 years. There's been nothing like what we did just 2 years ago. We will show no mercy on the cartels. Every day, drug traffickers are using the waters of our region to ship their lethal poisons to America, killing so many of our people and ruining families. In addition to restoring strong border security, I will deploy all necessary military assets, including the U.S. Navy, to impose the full naval embargo on the cartels. I did that before, and it worked. What we did was incredible. We will guarantee that the waters of the Western Hemisphere are not used to traffic illicit drugs to our country. Furthermore, I will order the Department of Defense to make appropriate use of special forces, cyber warfare, and other overt and covert actions to inflict maximum damage on cartel leadership, infrastructure, and operations. I will designate the major cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We will sever their access to global financial systems. I will also work to forge an unprecedented partnership with neighboring governments in our region, just like I did in Mexico. And remember, in Mexico alone, an estimated 100,000 civilians have been tragically murdered or gone missing at the hands of these cartels. The Mexican government, run by a very fine man, the president, is really working hard, but it's not working out. These cartels are vicious and they're violent, and they have Mexico for now stymied. Well, we have to help Mexico, and we have to stymie the cartels. Either we will get the full cooperation of other governments to stop this menace, or we will expose every bribe, every kickback, every payoff, and every bit of corruption that is allowing the cartels to preserve their brutal reign, and it is indeed brutal. Finally, as I have said before, I will ask Congress to pass legislation ensuring that drug smugglers and human traffickers receive the death penalty. The drug cartels and their allies in the Biden administration have the blood of countless millions on their hands. Millions and millions of families and people are being destroyed. When I'm back in the White House, the drug kingpins and vicious traffickers will never sleep soundly again. We did it once, and we did it better than anybody else. There's never been a better border than we had just 2 years ago. It was strong, it was powerful, and it was respected all over the world. And now we're laughed at all over the world. And we're not going to let that happen much longer. We have to take over. We have to be tough. We have to be smart. We have to be fair. But if we don't do something immediately, our country is gone.
So let me tell you what's really too extreme in this situation here, okay? Entire towns being overturned and overrun by drugs, crime, violence. We're seeing what's happened in Aurora, Colorado, various places in New Mexico, Texas. We saw what happened with Lake and Riley. If you guys haven't been watching the trial with Lake and Riley, as a matter of fact, Lake and Riley, the person who murdered her, the roommate had come out and said, listen, we were actually put up room and board, food, expenses paid at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City, and then we were able to receive funds to fly down into the South where all this madness actually took place. They were paid to do this because there was no vetting, there was no security. Everything wide open for them to be able to do this and take these measures and end an innocent, beautiful life. So what's too extreme? Cartels overrunning your cities, creating this violence, American citizens essentially being trafficked and brutalized by foreign cartels, families being destroyed while politicians are playing games in Washington. Now, Trump's plan might be bold, but that's exactly what we need. And that's what's going to restore law and order in this country with regard to the cartels. Because, see, they're not just some criminal nuisance. They're a full-scale national threat. And what I'm hoping for, and what really needs to happen, is that the cartels need to be categorized as a terrorist organization. Because then we can step foot past the boundaries of the United States and assist the Mexican government to eliminate them once and for all. And if our government won't deal with them, because we're the only one that's willing to stand up to them, then who's going to do it? It's going to infiltrate into your cities, into your towns. These liberals who are crying and saying this isn't right, it's too extreme. Well, guess what? I hope they come knocking at your door first, which we've seen some videos where that's exactly happened. We've even seen some pranks, some staging and some setup. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but a couple of these, influencers, etc., had filled a bus full of people and showed up to people who voted for Kamala Harris. And they came and said, hey, we see that you voted for Kamala and you're supporting her. So you believe in rights and you want to protect the rights of illegal immigrants, right? You don't want them to be deported. Oh, no, of course not. We want to protect them. We like them. Yeah, we definitely want them here. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we actually have a full busload of these individuals. They'd like to stay here for the night. So we're going to board them here at your house. Is that okay? And guess what happens? They slam the door. Get out of here. I'm calling the cops. They get freaked out. Because they say one thing but believe another. They don't stand for that. They want the same thing that every other American wants, which is a secure border. They're going to house some criminal in their home, some stranger who they don't know coming into their house. We've seen how some of these people in other countries even have come in and intimidated and kicked people out of their own homes and taken over their own homes. Look at what's happened in Italy. Look at what's happened in Greece. This is exactly what the establishment doesn't want you to know. They don't want you to see the contrast between a president who's willing to escalate conflict abroad for the globalist benefit and a leader on the other side who's determined to secure our homeland, right? It exposes to the rotten core what the cabal's agenda really is. And Biden's reckless escalation abroad is enriching all of his buddies before he leaves office. And it's indebting future generations, where Trump's plan is about securing America, restoring order, protecting the lives of citizens who are basically crying out for leadership. And that's what we need. So how are we going to address this issue? Well, first and foremost, since you won't hear it on the mainstream media, I'm going to let you hear it right here. And I hope that you guys see this and you share it out to a couple of friends and family members, because they need to hear the truth on this. The mainstream media is just going to twist the narrative anyway on this, and they'll lie through their teeth. They'll gaslight people until you doubt every single thing that you hear from true news, which we are. But here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pull back this curtain. We know the truth. And the truth is that they're terrified of you and I waking up. They're terrified of people coming together. And America really seeing this game for what it truly is. So why else would they go to such great lengths? Ask yourself this. To ban, to deplatform anybody who dares to speak out, because they know the power of the informed and the united populace. So what do we do about it? Okay. We demand accountability against these people. Now, January 20th, Inauguration Day, can't come soon enough to get Trump into office so that he can enact these things and get this stuff moving in the right direction. And when it does, you better believe that they're going to throw everything they have at stopping what's coming. But we have to push this thing forward. And so this isn't just about two presidents. This is about two futures. One where Americans become just another pawn in the globalist game, and another where we rise up and we take back our country and our destiny. And really the choice is clear. And the time to act is right now. So I want you to be informed about this and understand, share this out, and have some conversations in your community about this. Because the more the awareness goes out and people understand what's really taking place, the better we can be ready to protect and continue to fight back against these nutcases and these liberals and these insane maniacs who are trying to destroy everything good and sacred that is America. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment or two, and be sure to follow me on all social platforms at Joey Vantes.